Hey y'all, we got a very special episode for you today. We're going to get into it in just a second, but a couple things right up top we're going to hit you with. Remember to check out benandemilshow.com if you have not done so already. You can sign up for bonus content and everything there. People are buying the hats, which is great. We also have a big announcement for another piece of merch. This one was we got to get some of the, older stuff out of the way when we didn't have the capacity to do all this stuff, but we finally have some of the posters that people were asking for from our first live show in New York.
The 9/11 posters.
They're very cool.
Excuse me.
It does say 9/11 on there. It says it does say 9/11 total bummer, which is very funny. They're very cool. We'll put a little picture of it here. I'll send it to Dylan so you can see it. I don't know how many people. So many people were like, I can't come to New York for that poster or whatever, but I would buy it if you guys put it up. So we made like
1,000.
We made 75 of them. So if you want them, get it before it's gone, or maybe it won't sell out and you can take your time. I have no idea if people were even being truthful about wanting it, but it's up there now. It's live.
Anyway, also we got a good episode for you. We got Tiffany Fong. You guys remember that picture of SBF that got leaked from jail? That was her. And she inadvertently helped contribute to his sentencing. And she's kind of blown up in a very unique way and has a very she's got a line into SBF that she has access to this man that nobody else has. And we have her on the show this week. And we're very excited about it. And
it's a very fun interview.
She's
got some crazy SBF stories.
She's got some crazy SBF. It's a real doozy. So.
Oh, and I think the last thing, if you haven't done so already, go check out the Meatball Special. The first installment of the Meatball Special. We're doing a monthly show with our dear friend Phil Matarese, and it's very fun. People are loving it, so you should go check it out. Also, there is some bonus content for that, and it lives exclusively on benandemilshow.com.
Also, if this is your first time, if you've never seen us before, welcome. We do this every week.
We love you.
We take the piss out of all the shit going on in the world.
I know we just met, but we love you already.
Yeah, we love you already. Damn, you're looking good. Hey guys, we got to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's show, Aura. So I'm just Googling my own name, as I am wont to do from time to time, and it's kind of upsetting because there's a lot of information on the internet about little old me.
And we're not loving what we're seeing.
We don't like that. There's a lot of private stuff online.
It's uncomfortable seeing your private information.
It's uncomfortable because there's these things out there called data brokers, and they sell your information to spammers, scammers, anyone else who might want to target you. They've got your full name, usually your email, sometimes your home address, your health records, your relatives. It's all out there for the taking. So that's why we've been using Aura, who's the sponsor of today's video. It shows us which data brokers are selling your information and automatically submits opt-out requests for you.
We used Aura to go in and look at our own breaches and see how much...
there were dozens out there.
Dozens of people with our information.
Which would explain all the spam email that I get and also the spam just actual mail that I get. So
probably all the phone calls I'm getting from freaking scammers.
Oh yeah, that's all included on there.
It's all so annoying.
So if you want to clean up that information, it not only helps reduce the amount of spam you get, but it protects you from hackers who could use the information to help them access social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It also does a lot more to protect from threats you can't see. It's easy to set up. You don't have to download several apps to get things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more. You can get it all at one price.
And you're not just protecting you, you're protecting your family.
That's exactly right.
All right? You may already have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. All right?
We don't like that.
Aura is always on, doing the hard work of keeping us safe so we can focus on other tasks with peace of mind.
So you can go to https://aura.com/BAES. That is AURA.com/BAES to start your 2-week free trial. And it's also linked below in the description. Oh, wow. Okay. Tiffany, welcome.
Hello, thank you.
You are Tiffany Fong.
I am Tiffany Fong.
You are Tiffany Fong.
Fame.
Of Tiffany Fong.
Tiffany Fong
by Tiffany
fame.
Fong.
Yeah.
You are very Googleable now. So if people
Oh.
want to Google, I don't know if you've done it yourself or Bing. I don't know
Have
if you're
you Googled
Bing
yourself?
person.
I have at various points in this. I found like some interesting things. You know how they're like celebrities have those who are they dating things?
Yeah.
I found some of those about myself, which I wasn't expecting.
What do they say about
Some
you?
of them found old pictures of boys that I went to fraternity invites with in college, and like we're like, is she dating Sam Bankman-Fried or this man here that is a photo from like college? So
Weird.
Which one are you dating?
neither.
Oh, wow.
I'm single,
So
sadly.
those sites are wrong.
They're all wrong.
They're probably written by AI.
No, but you also have some more very legit
Claims to fame.
Yeah.
I don't know why I brought attention to those. I should have
Yeah.
brought attention to like the New York
the
Times or
Rolling
something.
Stone profile, or yeah.
There is a Rolling Stone profile on me, yeah.
Yeah, why don't we start from the beginning? Because for those of you who don't know, well, for a lot of people, including us, we heard about you recently because you were the one who published the photo of Sam Bankman-Fried in jail at, is it MDC?
MDC Brooklyn.
MDC Brooklyn, which just was blasted all over the internet. I had fans of the show DMing me and sending it to me, and which is how I know, okay, we're going to talk about something when I just get dozens
people
of
know
people
we
going,
love him.
look at
Oh
this.
my God.
But so yeah, we established contact, and now here you are. So why don't we?
And as we found out, you've been embedded in this situation
for
kind of.
quite some time.
I have been.
Pretty deeply.
Been. It's been like my life for the past year and a half, ever since FTX went down and Celsius went down, these crypto companies.
So why don't we start from the beginning?
Yeah, let's
what the
back
fuck?
up and find out how you got so involved.
Yeah,
in
what
this.
happened?
Oh, it's so weird.
How did it start? And I know you've probably done it a lot, so thank you for humoring us.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
But
okay.
What happened?
I mean, this all started because suddenly in July 2022, I lost the majority of my life savings to one of these crypto collapses called Celsius Network. Turned out to be, I mean, the guy hasn't gone to trial yet, but I'm pretty sure it's basically a Ponzi. But I left 3.1 Bitcoins and 11.6 ETH in this company called Celsius, which was worth about $250,000 when I deposited it. Yeah. So it was a huge loss. And also around that time in my personal life, I was going through a breakup, which is like we touched on earlier. I'm currently single. I don't know. That's not that important to this podcast, but I was just going through a rough time. Then I lost the majority of my life savings suddenly in July 2022. And I just didn't know what to do with my thoughts, my feelings. I was waking up every morning with like panic attacks. And I was like, I need to channel this energy into something. Mm-hmm. I had no aspirations of being like a YouTuber or a social media person or an influencer or anything. But I just started posting on YouTube and Twitter about my losses. So my first video on YouTube is just, I lost over $200,000. Like that's the title of my first
Also,
Wait.
did that coincide with was that like the crypto winter when everything tanked
Basically,
in like June?
yeah, it's like
Okay.
Terra Luna went down, then Celsius went down. Celsius went down a couple months before FTX, but it was basically like dominoes that collapsed around that time.
And there was no warning whatsoever. There was no writing on the wall to like get your money out of there, transfer it to Coinbase,
Well,
transfer
For
it to
years
cold
of-
storage.
years of
I'm gonna be
scams, rug
honest.
pulls.
I mean, Terra Luna went down before Celsius did.
Right.
I'm going to be honest. I was not someone who was even remotely involved in the crypto space. Like I didn't use Twitter. I didn't use YouTube or anything. So I wasn't looking this stuff up actively. I had just thrown some money in because greedily, I will admit, I liked the idea of making some passive income, and Celsius offered yield to customers.
Right.
And I had been holding crypto for a really long time. I did get in very early. So I had a bunch of crypto, plopped it into this platform. So I wasn't actively like reading up like what's going on with Celsius, any news
Right.
about Celsius,
For you, it was just a platform.
to earn some yield.
Yeah.
Wait, they were
like the passive
weren't they
income.
paying yield on like their own token?
They you could earn yield in their token, but for the most part they were paying yield out in like whatever tokens you put in. So I was earning Bitcoin every month that I left Bitcoin in the platform.
Wow.
And you know, obviously when there's yield, there's risk.
Right.
But I mean the yield on Bitcoin and ETH, it was like 3 to 5%, which didn't feel insane to
No.
me. Obviously, looking back in retrospect, horrible decision, wouldn't recommend. But yeah, that's how this all started. I basically lost the majority of my savings, was going through a rough time, and just started posting on YouTube and Twitter about my losses. And that first video, I had 0 subscribers on YouTube, but it ended up getting like, I think like 80,000 views just in a not too long a time frame. So I was like, hey, a lot of people must be looking this up. A lot of people who lost money are probably looking for answers. So I just started making updates on what was going on at Celsius. I was Googling it every day and collecting that information and making updates. That led to employees inside the company beginning to leak me information from inside the company.
From inside Celsius.
Yes.
And before all this, just to be clear, you got in early to crypto, but you were not like a crypto influencer
No,
or
not at
anything
all.
like that.
I
telling
honestly
people
didn't give a fuck about crypto, and I still am not a crypto
How
evangelist.
early are we talking?
I got Bitcoin. My first Bitcoin I got in 2011.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
Hey.
On what On what? Mount Gox?
So no, honestly, I can't take the credit for this. I wasn't some genius. I was in high school in 2011. I
Sure.
wasn't a genius. One of my relatives was Bitcoin mining at the time, and he gave me my first
okay.
Bitcoin as a Christmas gift. And I remember being like, "What the fuck is this? I don't give a fuck
That
about this."
family member, are they loaded?
I think he's doing just fine.
Yeah. Good for you for not becoming a crypto evangelist, because if I had a Bitcoin in 2011, I would be like, this is the future. This entire show would be different.
I would hope that if you were getting Bitcoin way back then, you would have had more than just one.
Yeah.
Because it would suck to only have one.
Sure.
I mean, I collected a couple over the years.
Yeah.
As Christmas gifts, and also I
Jesus.
ended up investing some of my own money into it, mostly because I was seeing the price raise, and I was like, hey, maybe it wasn't so bad an investment or a gift at all. Maybe I
Right.
should buy some more. So I did get in pretty early, but yeah, I mean, I find the people who are like evangelical about crypto to be kind of insufferable.
So for you, you were just kind of sitting on a nice little nest egg that you
it
kind
was
of stumbled
nice,
into.
and I did over time end up putting a lot of my life savings into crypto.
Right.
So it is how it ended up being
Okay.
such a massive chunk of my portfolio.
Was it in part, were you influenced by that family member to keep putting money in?
Oh,
or at this
he's
point,
a
were you on your-
full Bitcoin maxi.
Got
He's
it.
constantly preaching to me about Bitcoin. So
Good for
It's-
you. I'm such a prick that if like my cousin told, I'd be like, I don't want this. Take it
oh,
back.
that's exactly how I felt about it. But I remember in 2017, I was holding that Bitcoin and I saw it hit 20K, and I was like, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong, and you were right.
I traded it. I ignored it, and then when it hit like 1,000, I thought, all right, I'll buy 5, and I bought
Hey.
5 of them, and then I flipped it at like 1,200, and I thought, ooh, and then now I'm like, God, it'd be nice to have 5 of those again.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
God, fuck me.
But
Oh
like
my God.
the amount of bullets you have to if you had one from 2011, the amount of bullets you have to dodge to hang
Yeah.
on to that
Yeah.
is that's the thing.
Well, so that's the thing. I had diamond hands because I just didn't give a fuck about crypto. Like,
By
I
the
have
way,
to-
she just hit a vape.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, we love it. I'm saying it for the audio listener.
Oh, I'm
'cause
so
I
sorry.
think it's great.
I'm
Don't
very
be sorry.
unprofessional. No, people get mad at me on my channel for vaping so much because people at this point, we haven't gotten to my whole story, but now some people think I'm like a legitimate, real professional journalist. And they're like, this is very unprofessional of you. And I'm like, guys, I'm literally like a shit poster in my bedroom. Like, I'm hitting my
I
vape.
love it. I'm so sorry
She's
for
a,
interrupting.
she's a crypto and vape influencer.
Yes.
And if any vape companies want to sponsor me, I'm
Yes.
here.
Holding a jewel. Okay,
holding a
continue. I'm sorry.
Where did I leave off? Oh, I mean, I basically had diamond hands and didn't sell because I didn't give a fuck about it. So
Right.
Okay.
yeah.
And you had all your money tied up in Celsius. Everything went belly up. You were
Mhm.
very pissed. And then you started getting connected with Celsius employees.
Celsius employees just began reaching out to me on anonymous Twitter accounts. I at first thought, oh, this is kind of bullshit. But then some of them sent me secretly recorded internal all hands meetings. And I could
Jesus
hear the
Christ.
CEO's voice. Yeah. So I posted the first one with the New York Times. And then it just led to sort of a snowball effect of other employees just seeing me as the leak source.
Yeah.
Or who to give leaks to. So I ended up posting a lot of sort of big leaks about this just recently collapsed crypto company.
Yeah.
And that caught the attention of Sam Bankman-Fried. So Sam started following me on Twitter in September 2022, back when he was still the golden boy of crypto. I mean, this is when FTX was still a
Hanging out
thriving
with
company.
Bill Clinton, Tony
Hanging with Clinton.
Blair.
Didn't he have a
Mhm.
hand in
Tom
Celsius
Brady.
crashing?
There are conflicting thoughts on that. Like some Celsius customers say that he was shorting Cell token and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, but I don't think he was like the actual like cause of
Sure.
the collapse, but maybe.
Wow. Okay, so he reaches out to you and says what?
I mean, so he just started following me, and at the time I had just started posting, so I didn't have that big of a following. So he was my first like sort of big high profile follower. So I just DM'd him like, hey, thanks for the follow. I probably and I was like, oh, this is a big shot. Like, I didn't know that much about Sam. Like I said, I wasn't that invested in the crypto space prior, but I'd obviously seen this guy's face. I'd seen his face on Forbes, on Fortune. I knew he was a big shot. So I was like, oh, thanks for the follow. So we just exchanged a couple of messages that day, and I didn't think too much of it. And I think he posted once that he was following me because I was posting Celsius leaks. And we didn't talk again until November 2022 when FTX went down. So FTX obviously was a massive company, multi-billion-dollar company.
And he needed someone to talk to.
I mean,
he kind of couldn't help himself but talk.
He couldn't help himself but talk. He did talk to a lot of people. But I think that I was one of the first interviews he gave. So I messaged him the day that FTX went down, and I was in my head, I was like, this guy's not going to respond to me. I'm not a New York Times journalist. I'm not a Wall Street Journal person, whatever.
Also, I think at that point he shouldn't have been talking to anybody. So
he shouldn't have.
It was
he
the
shouldn't
right,
have.
Yeah,
He
I think
shouldn't
his lawyers would have been like,
oh yeah,
maybe don't do that.
he shouldn't have been talking to anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, this entire time he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But yeah, he responded to me in a couple of days and was like, hey, free for the next hour or so for what it's worth. Sent me his phone number. So we hopped on a phone interview.
Wasn't there funny stuff? Weren't you like on a date or something? And
I was on a date.
and
Yeah.
maybe.
So Sam didn't respond to my first message for a couple of days. So I just went about my life, and I already was like, this guy's not going to respond to me. Like, he shouldn't be talking to anyone. So I was out on a date getting drinks at some Brooklyn dive bar, 12:30 a.m. I look at my phone and I see the message from Sam, free for the next hour or so for what it's worth, with his phone number. And I'm like, I can't postpone on this guy. Like, this is a huge deal, getting this interview. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't postpone. I'm kind of drunk. Just ran. I showed my date. And my date actually is someone who I met doing this crypto coverage stuff, and he had lost a bunch of money to FTX. So he was like, you go talk to Sam Bankman-Fried
Okay.
and
So he was
ask him
understanding.
where the fuck my money is.
Oh, incredible. Which Brooklyn dive are we talking? Is this Charlene's?
We
or what
looked
are
this up because we're still friends, and we talked on the phone. We were like, wait, what was the name of that dive bar? I know it was in walking distance to Rockarola.
Oh,
And we were
okay.
looking for something a little more quiet. So we just looked up bars near Rockarola, and we walked to something a little more quiet.
Okay.
But in that vicinity. So I guess that's
Commodore?
Williamsburg.
Union Pool.
It wasn't those. Union Pool's
Macri
not quite
Park?
enough.
Hang
What was
on,
it?
Macri Park.
We got a helicopter.
Got a little bit of a
going.
helicopter situation.
I'm sure I
It's
could
cool,
ask
though.
him. It's cool. I mean, this isn't that important of a...
No,
anyone
but we
know?
like it because we love New York
Yeah.
City.
No, it was around Rockarola, though. It wasn't Union Pool, though. It wasn't Commodore, but we
Okay.
looked something
Okay.
up. Yeah.
So you rush home. You're drunk. Was he in? Where was he? Barbados or
He was in the
Bahamas.
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 Yeah, and it's
Okay.
funny because if you do listen to that first interview, you can hear waves crashing in the background, and
Wow, what a life this guy was living for a few years.
he really was. He really was.
Yeah.
God, but I mean, I had never interviewed anyone in my life. Like, I wasn't a podcaster, I wasn't a journalist, so that was my first time ever interviewing anyone. So I was just Googling FTX bankruptcy and like was just looking at headlines. So in my head, I was just like, okay, let me just write little notes on like what the headlines are saying about FTX. I wasn't prepared with questions.
Hey, all right. That's,
So at this point, he's still free.
Still
not-
free, hadn't been indicted just yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what did you guys talk about then?
So we covered a lot of topics.
He
I
just wanted to
basically went
clear the
over.
air.
Yeah, like I asked him most of the things I was seeing in the news, but I think the one big, I guess, scoop that I got from that I didn't realize was even a scoop was that he admitted to me that he donated, he claimed equal amounts of money to Republicans as he donated to Democrats,
Right.
but he donated the money to Republicans dark.
Because
I
he said
didn't-
journalists will freak out because they're all so
Yes.
liberal or whatever.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Why did he bring? Like, what's the point?
I don't even know why he told me that, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know it was such a big scoop because Sam was going on and off the record, and I did remove everything he said was off the record.
Okay.
But that was on the record. So since he said it so forthcomingly, I was like, oh, maybe that's publicly known. Like, I didn't realize that this was like a massive scoop.
Oh.
Yeah. So in the following days after I ended up posting that, well, I actually held on to the interview for a couple of weeks because I was like, am I supposed to write an article about it? I don't know what to do with
Yeah.
this
How did you
information.
end up posting it? A video, an article?
I posted it as an audio interview on YouTube. So, and I posted like initially with CoffeeZilla, and then
Oh,
he
sure.
linked. So
Oh,
he
yeah.
took a few clips from it, and then he linked to my video. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I didn't like know how it would be received, but yeah, that dark donations thing got Sam into a bunch of shit because it got cited in the Federal Elections Commission or committee or whatever complaint against him, and then that kind of turned into one of his 8 initial criminal charges. And I really genuinely didn't actually know that was such a weighty piece of information at the time because he was so open about it.
Hey guys, this episode is sponsored by none other than Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex.
Let's talk about
S-E-X.
sex, baby.
Hey guys, you remember the days when you were always ready to go? For some of you, you're still ready to go.
Brother, do I remember the days?
Man, I love those days. Always ready to go. I'm talking about having sex, guys. Remember that? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up. It's called BlueChew.com.
And you might be thinking, what the hell is Blue Chew? Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost.
This will be you. Num, num, num. You're eating those things up. You can take them anytime, day or night. It doesn't matter. So you can plan ahead, or you can be ready whenever a sexy opportunity arises. The process is simple. And listen, guys, I'm not above telling you. I've used it. I did. A friend of mine said, hey, you should try this thing. And I was like, you know what? Fine. I will. So I went to bluechew.com. I did the consultation. You're looking at, I swear I did. And you consult with one of the licensed medical providers, and I got approved just like you will. And then you receive your prescription within days. It comes in discreet packaging so the mailman doesn't know that you're having sex. It's just between you and God.
And that's a federal employee. You do not want them knowing you have sex, okay? So they're taking care of you on that one.
Yeah, it's great because it's all online. There's no awkward doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Their tablets, Blue Chew's tablets, are made in the USA. They're prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. You might be asking, does it work? Maybe try it for yourself and see.
Try it for yourself.
Maybe a little wink will tell you if it works.
But here's the deal. Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at bluechew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code BAES at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code BAES, BAES, to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Yeah. So he fucked up by not saying that's off the record.
Yeah.
And then you not knowing that it was so incriminating, put it out there, and it ends up being
really didn't.
part
Had
of the
I known,
case
I'm going to be
against-
honest, like I know a lot of people fucking hate Sam Bankman-Fried, but I don't know if I would have shared it if I knew that it was going to like get him a criminal charge.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there were so many
I
other
mean, he was
going to
do it to someone. I mean,
That's true.
At this point, while you were going through all this, me and Ben, we were hosting a different show at the time, but it was just called something different, very similar. But we were dying at all of the clips that he would just go. I mean, I think there was an ABC News one where he did that crazy pause where.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. And was repeating the words back to himself.
Yeah. So I mean, he was gonna leak this no matter what.
That's true.
He had to get it out.
That's true. He had to tell
He
the
was
people.
like, I need to tell people I've been doing elections fraud as well. The people need to know.
I think it's the result of Adderall, because Adderall will do that to you.
Do you think?
I think I told the story. Yeah, I did, because she ended up hearing it and reaching out to me. I was so high on Adderall in college one day that I saw this girl that I barely knew from years prior.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her on MySpace, and she was posting all these party pictures. And I just was so high, I was like, I got to tell her right now how much she sucks. So I wrote her, it was on MySpace. I wrote her this long email just saying like, hey, Brittany, you think you're so fucking cool? Well, guess what? You're not. You're actually, you think you're so cool going to all these parties? Well, guess what? You're not. You're stupid. You just for no reason, out of nowhere. And then the next day,
meanwhile, you're like cracked out in bed. You're like,
yeah,
do you think you're so cool?
It was the middle of the day. It wasn't even nighttime. I had no excuse. And then, other than the fucking Adderall. And then the next day, I log on, and she's written me back, and she just put me in my place. She said, wow, Ben, I didn't know that I was so uncool. Please, next time she just totally put me in my place. And I wrote back just like, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you other than I was really high on Adderall. And but yeah, it's that kind of.
I want to be clear. Adderall doesn't do that to me.
I know. I was going to say, I've never heard anyone react that way to Adderall.
Doesn't.
And I've also never had the urge to commit elections fraud on Adderall.
True.
So.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about his desire to share
to talk.
Because
I don't think I react that way to Adderall though.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to study and clean and shit.
it was a one-off.
But I'm glad you take it and you're like, man, I'm gonna let a motherfucker know right now.
Yeah, I think it's because I was in the middle of studying, and I just felt like I'm not doing anything fun with my life. and I'm 20 years old or whatever. And you do you guys remember the cobra snake?
No.
There's this photographer. Do you remember him? There's this famous photographer in LA and New York who would go to parties all the time. Like every single day there was a party. And he just would bring his camera and just take pictures of all these hot people. And then they'd get posted the next day on his website. And she was going to these parties and posting these pictures. And I was like, fucking.
Were you jealous?
Bitch, you fucking, yeah, of course. Yeah,
You're just jealous.
100% jealous. That's what it was. I was jealous and pissed off. And yeah, anyway. So it sounds like he was high on Adderall.
Like, so I understand. So you understand where Sam is coming from.
I do a little bit, because sometimes you just want to spill your guts. And
Dan, if you ever get in some shit, I'm going to call your lawyer and be like, keep the Adderall away from him.
Get that kid
this man's going to sing like a canary.
Well, I think that he probably thought that the more I share, the more people are going to see that I'm not guilty.
Yeah, well,
I
that's
think so.
For me, it feels way less anything like the Adderall thing, but it maybe feels like a control thing where he was like desperate to control the narrative and be like, okay, this is so out of control. Everyone is talking about how this thing imploded, blaming me. Let me get out in front of all this and get my story out, but instead it just obviously was going to make everything way, way worse.
Yes. I would agree that was probably his viewpoint on all of this, but yes, it did make things way, way worse.
Insane. Like, yeah, just.
So were there more interviews that you then did with him?
So you guys were like in constant contact throughout this entire.
I mean, so we had that first phone call, and a few days after that first phone call, I hadn't posted it yet, but I messaged him again. I was like, hey, do you want to do another phone call? And he was like, yeah, let's do another. So I had 2 interviews with him. And this was 2 weeks before he went on his media tour. So this was 2 weeks before he went on the New York Times Deal Book Summit, Good Morning America, etc. So this was when he was still being silent.
Yeah, some of your interviews probably ended up in some of the, like, as some of the questions that some of these more mainstream journalists read.
So.
Yeah.
I think so.
Some of these mainstream journalists are seething, just like, who's this fucking girl? They're getting high on Adderall and telling you you're a bitch.
Fuck is this?
It's like I did.
Oh, I that's kind of what I assumed. Well, because I didn't know if I was going to post the actual audio of the interview, and I started posting written forms of some things he had said to me, but obviously I was someone with not a huge following, wasn't known like as a journalist or anything. So a lot of people were just saying like, this girl, you really talk to Sam Bankman-Fried, like you're full of shit. So I was like, I don't know, I guess I have to post the actual audio. So then I heard he was going to do the New York Times Deal Book Summit, and I was like, all right, I'm going to front run the New York Times Deal Book Summit. So I did post it the day before the New York Times Deal Book Summit. So I probably took some of their questions. Sorry, I'm so sorry to Andrew Ross Sorkin. Shout out.
I think he'll be okay.
I think you do a good job, and I'm nothing compared to him, but
yeah.
But yeah, so
that second interview, what kind of shit did he get himself in trouble for this time?
The second one, I think it got less press attention than the first one. He did say some not amazing things on that either, but yeah, we just talked on the phone for quite some time, and he didn't even go off the record for part of it, but I just removed it because it was just like we were just chatting about our personal lives, like we were just talking like about what it's like to live in the Bahamas and loneliness and how he was feeling and stuff. So I removed that part of it, but I think it established some sort of a friendly rapport. So I think we became sort of moderately friendly on that. So since that one scoop did get him into a lot of trouble, I was like, I don't really expect to hear from Sam again. Like after I kind of got into deep shit. But then he went off on the media tour, and then he was arrested in the Bahamas. He was extradited to the United States.
Yeah, I heard he had a bad time in the Bahamas jail.
He did have a bad time in the Bahamas jail.
Why? Because he didn't get it.
Because it's just an awful experience. It's like, if you look up the jail he was in, sorry, am I banging you with my chair? It's like infested with rats and roaches, and it's just very dirty. They obviously, he's
couldn't get his Adderall or his medication.
Well, that's another, he seems like quite a needy prisoner. He's got his
he's vegan.
Veganism.
He's got his vegan
his meds.
meal options, his meds, all that stuff. So
which I get, and I can't imagine that the Bahamians.
Well, and I think initially he didn't want to be extradited.
He told me that he was like they didn't even know what a vegan was. Yeah. So he didn't have an easy time.
I think initially he wanted to not get extradited to the U.S. and then he got put in the Bahamian jail, and he was like, you know what, I'll
do the extradition. You can extradite me.
Maybe just bring me home, boys.
That's basically what happened. Yeah. Yes. But like, so he was extradited, and he was released on a $250 million bond, which I think is one of the largest in U.S. history. But I was like, okay, this guy's not going to reach out to me. Obviously, the first interview got you in some hot water. I thought that was the last of it. But I was like, oh, cool. I got 2 huge interviews. But the day that he landed back at home, I woke up the next day to a text from Sam that was just like, hey, finally back online. Like, just totally out of the blue. So yeah, he contacted me like the day that he got back to his parents' house in Palo Alto, California. And we went back and forth a little bit. And then I was like, I'm just going to shoot my shot yet again. Like, I didn't expect to get the first interview, but I was like, hey, are you allowed visitors? And I was like, I didn't think that someone being charged with like 8 charges from the from the DOJ is going to be allowed visitors casually. But he was like, yep, I'm allowed visitors. I'd be happy to see you.
At his parents' house.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And so were you back in New York at this point?
Where was I at that time? I think I was in Las Vegas.
Okay.
But I was actually going to go to San Francisco for my sister and her husband live in San Francisco. So I was going to go there for Christmas. And that's around the time that he got back to his parents' house.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm actually going to be in San Francisco around Christmas. Are you allowed visitors? And he said yes. So I visited him for the first time on December 27th. So 2 days after Christmas.
2023.
2022.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at this point, what are his spirits like?
That was right after he'd been released from the Bahamian prison. And he basically told me, like, I've been going insane. Like, I've been going mad.
Yeah.
Mostly due to, like, the lack of communication with the outside world. He said he was going crazy because he was like, I've never been in a situation where I have thoughts that I'd like to say to people or put out in the world. And you just can't do that.
Yeah.
So he was really struggling.
What's the parents' house like?
His parents' house, I feel like people expect it to be really ostentatious, but it's kind of a normal house. I mean, not too dissimilar from where we are, but bigger.
Mm-hmm.
It was large, but it wasn't ostentatious. Like the decor and everything like that was kind of like normal house. Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
I'm kind of obsessed with his parents.
Oh yeah,
I love them.
Did you meet them?
I have met them really briefly. Like when I'd be at Sam's house, there were a couple of times where they'd kind of like accidentally pop their head into, because we'd usually sit in this study, I guess, office study, and his parents would sometimes pop their head in and be like, hey Sam, and then they'd see I was in there and then they would just shut the door in my face.
Oh.
So they didn't love me. And then and then I had an interaction with Sam's mom during trial, and she made clear that she does not like me.
Whoa,
that
what'd
was
she
much
say?
later. She said that I wrote a very unfortunate article about Sam, but I don't really write articles, so I wasn't sure if she was confusing me for someone else, but she doesn't like me. So
I feel like it's impossible to not write an unfortunate article
I know,
about
that's what
Sam.
I'm saying.
It's
I'm kind of like, right? I'm kind of like, I don't know
want
how
us
you
to
can
do, lady?
No, I'm like, I can't really say he's innocent, so
Yeah.
I don't know. So she wasn't a fan, but
I also just find them so crazy. Like, so they're both law professors, I think.
yes,
at
they're
Stanford.
both Stanford law
And
professors.
Just some of their own behavior throughout the trial. I'm like, are these the stupidest fucking law professors in the world? I don't understand.
What do you think?
Like,
Any examples come into mind for you?
It's so long ago now.
The
but
dad's demands of like wanting
yes,
an
like
allowance
exactly, and them coming to him and them being pissed and wanting more, like wanting a bigger house in the Bahamas and all
Yes.
this fucking shit, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Dude, I agree
These
with
people
that.
need to be in jail.
Yeah,
Like,
it's insane to me that they're not in any kind of trouble.
I know. I mean, I think that there's a lawsuit against them. FTX as a company is suing them. But I mean,
Yeah.
other than that, I don't think they've been indicted or anything like that. Yeah, that stuff didn't look great. I mean, like, yeah, the dad straight up asked for like millions of dollars or something like
Yeah.
that.
I mean, granted, if my son was SBF, I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be like, hey,
You're like,
son,
can't blame him.
give me a couple
so
million
that's,
dollars.
I think that's the thing with the whole SBF thing, is that it's a lot of these guys who got rich very quickly. I think they're smart in a specific way where they like knew a lot about this very specific thing, but they haven't been around that long and they didn't have a lot of the things in place that could have protected them.
Totally.
So there's like a lot of like institutional, like more establishment finance people who get away with things because they do everything right.
Mhm.
And it's just bizarre to me that 2 Stanford law professors wouldn't be like, hey, there's some ways you can protect yourself here.
Yes.
And not only yourselves, ourselves. They're just like fully like, yep, let's jump in the shit and just fucking, yeah. I want a fucking $1 million Bahamas house. And you're like, what is going on?
Totally.
Greed, man. It
Totally.
corrupts.
Absolutely. So then it's kind of like, I don't want to like accuse them of being guilty of things, but I'm kind of like, is it
No,
just like
can't.
you blind?
You can accuse them here.
It's like, okay, yeah, like willfully turning a blind eye to like
Yeah.
things that are
Sure.
going on when you guys are clearly like the adults in the room. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's a little sketchy.
So you're at the parents' house. Was that the last time you saw him before he went away?
Yeah, I
prison.
visited him quite a few times over house arrest.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many times?
I haven't been giving exact counts, but I guess it's
that's-
already in the Rolling Stone thing. It was
Mhm.
like over 10. So
Wow.
Wow.
I visit him pretty regularly. I mean, it's a weird. I would say that I consider Sam a friend. Like
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know what Sam would say publicly about it or anything, but like I consider Sam a friend, and I would assume that he to some degree considers me a friend. And I think he just kind of needed a listening ear during that time. And this was before he actually went to trial and all the evidence came out. So like at the time, I didn't assume that everything he said was the truth. But I also was like, let me hear you out, and then I'm going to go to your trial, which I did, and then I'm going to hear out the other side. So I was willing to listen to him, and he like his closest friends throughout his life were the people that testified against him. So he just didn't really have any friends throughout that period. So
Yeah.
we did sort of become friends, which I guess is not the most favorable thing to say publicly, but
It's not like you befriended fucking Hitler or Mussolini or something.
that's true. That's true.
Unless- did
Sam,
you-
if you're watching right now,
Would.
you our DMs are open. You can. He wouldn't be allowed to come on the show, huh?
We
don't think so.
We can maybe
Yeah.
Skype him in. at
He's
some
very
point.
incarcerated.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd be allowed.
I mean, did you guys have some like extremely intense moments? I mean, you were hanging out with him a bunch while he was looking down the barrel of 100
We
and
did.
some
Yeah.
odd years in prison.
I mean, we did have a lot of conversations about like the prospect of him potentially being in prison for life. And there were some like quite emotional moments.
I'm sure.
I know the public doesn't take kindly to ever sort of sympathizing with or empathizing with Sam, but on a human level, I mean, of course, I was going over there pretty frequently, and I do see him as like a human being. And I know people get mad at that statement, but he is a human being. So yeah, we had a lot of like kind of intense conversations, and
He's definitely a human being, and it's definitely it's an odd thing. I mean, I don't like root for anyone to have awful things happen to them. I also think it's a weird example of, there's so many financial crimes that go unpunished.
yeah.
And so
Mhm.
people obviously get very riled up and are like, good, finally we're getting someone. And
Mhm.
but I think hitting him with a huge punishment is not anywhere near as effective as going after a bunch of people at the same time and giving them prison sentences or something closer to like 5 to 10 years rather than giving
I
one guy
agree.
like 175 years.
I completely agree.
There are so many things going on, and like, of course, this high profile one, like they have to do something about, but there's so many things going on that
I
just
totally
go
agree.
unpunished.
Totally. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he's going to get an insane sentence because this is so high profile, which doesn't feel necessarily fair if you
Right.
compare it to other crimes and I'm also, I mean, people don't take kindly to this, but I'm like, I personally don't want anyone to get a life sentence who's like a non-violent criminal. I mean, you guys might disagree, but I'm kind of like the people I want to see in prison for life are like pedophile. Oh, I don't know if I can say that word.
You
I
can
think
say
you could-
pedophile.
I think-
Pedophiles. Okay.
I don't think it's controversial to say I want pedophiles
Okay.
behind bars.
We've been like cursing the whole time and I'm like, pedophiles.
Yeah,
but,
you
like,
could say that.
Yeah, pedophiles or like murderers and
Sure.
things like that. So I mean,
Rapists.
yeah, exactly, rapists. So I mean, like to me, I'm kind of like Sam is facing 115 years, and I think that if he gets the max, that seems unfair to me.
What is your assessment of what he did wrong or where he went wrong?
I mean, Sam, he did misuse a lot of customer funds
Mhm.
and he didn't funnel them into his own bank accounts to spend on strippers, yachts, or parties, but he did spend a lot of money on political donations,
Right.
illiquid venture investments, like and some of those liquid venture investments have actually done quite well since the bankruptcy. Like he invested $500 million into Anthropic, which obviously has gone up a lot since AI has gone kind of crazy since then.
What is Anthropic? I don't know.
It's an AI company.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's done really well. And it was one of FTX's largest investments. So
Yeah,
to me,
500
honestly,
million?
500
Holy
mil.
shit.
Yeah. So I think it's now worth like close to 2 or 3 bill. So that's actually why FTX customers are ultimately being made whole.
Maybe the DOJ should have let him cook.
So that's the thing.
No, I'm
But that's the thing. There was certainly a misuse of customer funds, but
Yeah.
it's not as straightforward a fraud as, I don't know, some other criminals who did actually just funnel a bunch of money into their own bank accounts.
Sure.
It was like a lot of misuse of funds. So I'm not going to like vouch for the guy's innocence or anything, but it, to me, ethically feels, I don't know if this sounds good, but it feels less bad than people who are actually funneling money to just enrich their lives. I think that Sam
get
is a
that.
bit delusional, and he actually thought that he could just double or triple this money. That's why he was making all these illiquid venture investments. Obviously, that was not right to do. I do not condone his behavior, but I think he, in his head, didn't think that anyone was going to get hurt, or I don't think he considered it stealing.
That's what I think too. I think that he reached such a point where money just doesn't become real, and it's like points in a video game,
Yes.
and and when enough people surrounding you tell you you're a genius,
Yes.
and you get all these profiles about how you are the second coming of
Yes.
money Christ or whatever, I'm sure he already believed it anyway because of what he did with the whole Bitcoin arbitrage and Jane Street and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was already somewhat of a wonderkind, and then they trust me with all this money. Why shouldn't I go use it in other ways? It would just get bogged down in all sorts of red tape if I were to have to do it the appropriate way. So I'll just do it, and nobody will know, and everybody will be happy at the end of the day.
That's kind of how I view the situation as well, like the exact same way. And like, it's like, I think that he was kind of delusional and reckless, but I'm also like, I can almost psychologically understand how someone in his position might become super overconfident. Like, from day one, you're being told you're going to be the world's first crypto trillionaire, and you're like a genius wonderkind. Like, I can kind of see how he became way too overconfident,
especially putting his girlfriend in charge of trading billions of dollars. Like that, I feel like that was quite a big domino to fall, because then her losses ended up having to get covered by. Like, it feels like that was a big, which is ultimately his fault, because it was his decision to put her in such a position. But
I still think he's a sicko. I feel like there's a lot of SBF apology going on.
Hey,
right now,
I mean, that is the popular sentiment is that he's a sicko.
I'm not being an apologist. I'm just saying that I understand.
I don't understand, and I think his whole thing with the like effective altruism and like I just need many more billions of dollars so I can like shape the world around me into like what I believe it can be and stuff is just like he's just like
that's like superhero, supervillain.
I think it's a delusional viewpoint. I actually think the EA thing is true, because some people think that he was just saying he was in EA because it was like as a PR statement. I actually think it's true because he won't stop talking about EA. Like every conversation, even just private, like if we're just talking one-on-one, just nonstop talks about EA. Like he's really obsessed with it, even from jail. And I don't know if I want to say that, but anyway, he talks about EA nonstop. And he showed me some of his like, he had like these blogs from 2011, 2012, where he was like writing about like where your dollar can be best spent, like if you donate that dollar. So I actually think he believed in EA, but to a delusional extent, to where I think he was sort of like an ends justify the means kind of person, where he was like, yeah, I need these billions of dollars. And I'm kind of like, at what point would you stop? At what point is it enough money? I don't know. I think he's kind of delusional, but
yeah, I don't know. It's just like the whole Silicon Valley ethos, like to the max of like, we can solve all these problems with just like efficiency, we'll teach every homeless dog to code, and it's like they're all just so fucking stupid, and they don't realize how stupid they are because they know a lot about one thing.
Yeah,
and they're like, well, I know a lot about this one thing, like, and a lot of people respect me for that. I have good ideas about everything.
Yeah,
so you should give me all of the money, and I should fix all the problems.
Yeah, and I'm not an EA. I don't agree with all that.
Yeah,
like Silicon Valley shit.
Does he ever lament about how if he had just been able to hold on a little bit longer, this all would have just been, because like part of it was the fact that crypto was tanked.
Yes,
and by now he'd be totally fine.
I mean, to be honest, one of the things he said is his biggest regrets is, my biggest regret is filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which sounds like delusional. And when he would say that to me, I'm like, that's fucking delusional. You had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But he's probably correct in that if he had managed to like just hold out for this many months, obviously crypto's gone up so much.
Yeah,
I think the company would have been fine. Obviously, I don't think that everything he did at the company was kosher. So it basically is kind of like, yeah, you would have hidden the fraud, but
right, the fact that you were still gambling with everyone.
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm not unaware of that, but I'm kind of like, you're probably right in that if you didn't file for Chapter 11, the company would itself be fine and liquid, probably. So I can see how he regrets it, but it obviously is like probably not the piece that the public wants to hear that he regrets.
Yeah. And just speaking of hate, God, excuse me. I noticed that you get a lot of hate.
About what?
All sorts of things. Like, what is the number one thing that you get hate for when you're posting about this stuff?
I mean, during Sam's trial, I tried to be very unbiased. Like, I think now I'm kind of being more forthcoming and saying that, like, yeah, I think that we became friends.
Mm-hmm.
But during the trial, I think I was pretty unbiased. Like, now I get hate for saying that, like, I don't think he deserves a life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I mean, people don't like that I'm like unprofessional. I think people, now that I've gotten so many things that I guess are considered publicly as like big scoops, I think people think that I'm an actual professional journalist.
Mm-hmm.
So people get mad at me for vaping, people get mad at me for cursing or being giggly or whatever. But I'm like, I'm literally just doing, like, I started doing this from my fucking bedroom. I have no background in journalism or anything like that. So I don't know.
What does that friendship look like exactly though? Because you're clearly, when you hang out with him, you do have somewhat of an agenda, right?
It is kind of tough, yeah, because I feel like ultimately it's like, yeah, I want to get information.
And you're both getting something from the other.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a traditional friendship.
It's very strange. I've even asked Sam on a phone call once, like, do you consider me like an actual friend, or is this more like you want to get a narrative out?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you kind of using me? And Sam was like, yeah, I consider you a friend with some caveats. And I was like, what is that fucking? So it is a strange friendship.
Sam said to you, I want to continue being friends, but you cannot publish anything that we talk about anymore, would you guys still hang out?
I would still talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just partially, I think it's interesting. Like, I'm personally interested in it. And like, I guess I could cover whatever I want. I'm not working for anyone. No one's assigned me to cover FTX. But I mean, like, I find it interesting as someone who lost money. And then like, since I have already spent so much time learning about this case and everything like that, I find it interesting. So I'd still want to talk to him.
I mean, it's incredibly interesting. You were with someone who, I don't know, do you guys ever have those dreams where, you know, something awful happens, unspeakable happens, and in your dream you have the feeling of my life is different now, like I'll probably go to jail or whatever. And then you wake up and you go, oh, good God.
Drive my car to a farmer's market.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you wake up and you go, oh my God, thank God it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But
the farmer's market is this Saturday. What if I accidentally do?
But basically, you've been hanging out with someone who has been in the stage of going like, Jesus Christ, I hope I wake up soon because this is
exactly
awful.
I've actually asked him, like, does this all feel like a dream? And he's been like, he's actually said things like, the past like 5 years have felt like a dream.
Oh, I'm sure. Like
even
the highs and the lows.
The fall.
Sure.
And I think it's psychologically really interesting, honestly. So like, it's not like I'm just looking at Sam as like a fucking like psychological case to pick apart, but like I've never met anyone that's gone through any of this. So I find it personally fascinating. And that's why I'm still covering it. Like, honestly, I'm not covering it at this point on social media because I think it's like a hot news topic. Mm-hmm. I mean, the story's kind of dead. He was already convicted. When I posted that photo, the prison photo, I didn't actually realize it was going to go that viral. I kind of was like, people don't really care about this case anymore. I thought it was going to get like a lot of views or whatever, but I didn't think it was going to go like crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm covering it because I'm still interested in it. And so I'd still talk to him even if he was like, you got to stop talking about this, or if I couldn't talk about it.
Can you visit him at MDC?
I don't think currently getting any visitors that aren't his parents or his lawyers. But I mean, I hope that we're still on good enough terms after prison, because I would be really interested in like how he's feeling and doing. And yeah, I don't know. I see, this kind of stuff does get me some backlash. Like, people are going to be like, you are naive, like think that I completely believe him or believe that he's innocent, or I've also gotten, since some people know that I've lost money to another crypto collapse, people are like, you're friends with Sam, so you have Stockholm syndrome. I'm like, that's also not the definition of Stockholm syndrome.
No.
But you also don't think he's innocent. I think you think maybe that he doesn't deserve as harsh of a sentence.
That's the thing. I mean, like, I've been trying to understand if I actually see him as a malicious, evil person. And I think there are some truly malicious, evil people out there who do set out to harm others for their own personal gain. And I just don't see him that way. Does that mean he's legally innocent? No.
Right.
But I don't think he's like the kind of person who actually set out to harm others so that he could buy a super yacht.
I think it's I think criminal negligence is a big part of it. And I do think there was obviously some, like, I think it's pretty well documented, like intent to deceive his investors and the public.
I think
I think that's the right.
Yes.
Like, I think it's easy to be like, oh, he didn't mean anything bad by it, but yes, that neglect for any kind of duty of care for, you know, the people's money he's taking and stuff like that. You're just like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I think
and that mindset is so pervasive in so many in the financial sector that it's awful. It's not I don't think a lot of those guys are like, oh, I want to fuck people over today. I want to go into the office and just like fuck people's shit up. They want to make money and they want to take big bets and they want to have more money to play with.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I think someone like him, and this is what I predict will happen. He'll probably get 20 to 25 years and they'll plead it down, or he'll get out in 15 on good behavior or something like that. And then obviously he'll be barred for life from ever
I think he
trading
should certainly
securities and things like that.
That punishment sounds vaguely fair to me. I mean, I just don't see a need for a life sentence, but like, I mean, up to 115 years. So obviously, like, I don't know, anything close to that number is just life.
Yeah.
But 20 to 25 seems fair to me.
We'll find out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So does he really feel like, oh, all my friends, all the people who've testified against him, he still doesn't feel like he did anything wrong? He's just like, oh, they turned on me to save their own asses?
I mean, I feel like he generally feels sort of understanding of people testifying against him. He's
Sure.
like, oh yeah, they need to save their own asses. Even when I posted that the political donations thing and he got in trouble, he was just like, oh, it's okay. He's a very like kind of understanding person. So I feel like he wasn't like necessarily mad that people testified against him.
He sounds like a very strange dude.
He's a strange dude.
Incredibly strange.
I watched the whole G-Lock video.
Same.
And it just his description of Sam, you're like, oh, he's a very weird guy. Like
He's
he talks
strange.
about his sense of humor and stuff, that he doesn't really crack jokes. He'll occasionally kind of just, I don't know, kind of politely laugh. But other than that, he's like,
I've heard Sam laugh genuinely a few times, but he has like kind of like dirty, sick sense of humor, which I think
can
is kind
see
of
that.
funny. Like,
I
yeah.
mean, he was in a polycule, and those kind of people strike me as, oh yeah, did you guys ever talk
He
about
wasn't
that?
I don't think he was really in a polycule. Okay, he told me.
What?
Okay,
Interesting.
he told
That's
me.
like one of the most damning pieces of gossip out there.
that's the real fraud.
Yeah,
That's the real
fraud.
He told me that a bunch of people who were living in that Bahamian apartment, like Caroline Ellison and all of them, a couple of them were previously polyamorous prior to working at FTX, but that when they were living in that apartment, that they were all coupled up. So like he was with Caroline Ellison, but I was like, so did you have orgies? He's like, oh no, never. Like he's never had an orgy, and I kind of believe him. I mean, I've asked him about that stuff a lot. Like I don't think that they were in a polycule at that time. I think that a lot of them were polyamorous. Like Caroline Ellison has written about polyamory. So apparently that's where the rumor started. On her blog, she had written about polyamory before.
Oh man, I love those days. Just pouring through that Tumblr. I mean, just that was insane.
That was insane. That was insane.
Can you give us a little taste of how his laugh sounds? Can you
Oh my
do
God,
a
what
good
is this?
impression of it?
Oh my God, what does his laugh sound like?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing it's. I have no idea.
I feel like it sounds like when you'd write HEH, like
Is it a hee 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 or a heh heh?
I feel like it's like heh heh heh.
Oh, man.
I don't know. You do hear him laugh really infrequently. It's mostly like really sick humor, like really sick
Sure.
jokes. Like I did. Yeah, what was something?
Okay,
he laughed
red
at?
flag.
I have sick humor though, so I don't
He
know.
seems very 9-gag coded. Do you know what I'm talking
He's like
about?
kind of like an immature sense of humor.
Yeah, I could see
Kind of
that.
funny.
So my favorite, I just want to share a couple from the G-Lock interview. Just on the topic of his life sentence, going up against potential life sentence. I love how he said, how can you give someone, he talks about how Sam can't make eye contact. And he said, how can you give someone life who can't even make eye contact with you? And I thought that was profound.
It's kind of profound.
G-Lock he's onto something. Like, how can you give someone life? He can't even look you in the eyes. And then he said he didn't know what he was doing was illegal, which is a good defense.
Which is a good defense. His lawyer should have tried that.
I really did. G-Lock seems G-Lock seems fun. Wait, you live in New York, right?
I'm moving. I move there on and off. Like every few months, I go back to New York. But
I was gonna say you must be able to hang out with him all.
I
the
just
time
hung out with him like last week.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys do?
My new criminal buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to get him a laptop. I do feel bad for him. I mean,
Sure.
he's an ex-convict. He got into gangs when he was 13 years old. He grew up in the Bronx in the projects or something. I don't know too much about that life, to be totally honest. But He got in a gang when he was 13, and he's like been in and out of jail since then. And I mean, he says he wants to turn his life around. I'm not going to vouch for whether or not that's true, but I hope that he's able to at least have the resources of having like a fucking laptop to actually work from and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get him a laptop.
He could write a book about his time in
jail
with
Tuesdays with Sam.
Tuesdays with Sam.
Yeah. Well, and then he was talking about the I know that he was just saying a lot. Well, it's already out there, but he was talking about how Sam's
best friend
is a wait. Also, he said one of his friends in jail is the president of Honduras.
Oh,
What the
apparently the
fuck?
president of Honduras is just in jail with them. Yeah.
he casually mentioned, he's like, oh yeah, his best friend is a pedophile cop from here in New York, and then the president of Honduras. And I'm like, what the fuck? What is he in there for?
I actually haven't looked that one up. I should look that one up. Yeah. I don't know.
And he's helping him do legal work?
Oh, I think it had something to do with helping like cartel members or something like that.
Yeah, okay. That's
something
right.
like that.
Well, Sam is giving people investment advice, which I don't know if that's that feels like maybe don't take that guy's advice.
I think that he probably still has good ideas, especially in the crypto space. Man, I'd pay a nickel to hear his.
Hey, honestly,
advice.
some of his investments that he made, like those illiquid investments that kind of like led to the demise of FTX, are now doing pretty well. It's like Anthropic. Yeah. Anthropic's now doing pretty well.
Do you know any others? Solana, I think, is kind of
Solana's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, a lot of his investments are doing well. I don't know if I'd take all of his investment advice either, but some of them are not doing too badly.
Yeah. So are all of his personal bank accounts just fully zeroed out, or are they frozen,
Sam
or what?
sent me a screenshot of his bank account and it had $200,000 in it. But I'm also kind of like, I'm not going to vouch and say that's his only bank account as like a multi-billionaire. I'm kind of like,
this guy is an open book. He's just fucking. What is?
I mean, at this point,
on?
why wouldn't you be?
I don't.
He's already. It's already done, right? He's just waiting for sentencing.
Yeah, he's waiting for sentencing.
Yeah.
I mean, just to have a modicum of privacy while your fucking life is being destroyed.
I know, it was shocking to me too. I mean, he claimed, because I was like, Sam, you probably shouldn't be talking so much. But he was like, well, you know, they tell that to people because they're worried that their stories won't line up with the truth. But I'm just telling the truth. So I mean, like,
yeah, and the truth doesn't look good.
I know. I'm like,
the truth is bad, Sam.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Jesus.
So according to G-Lock, he's eating about a dozen peanut butter and jelly sandwiches a day, and he's addicted to an iPad game
Named Shattered Pixel Dungeon?
Shattered
something
Pixel
like that.
Dungeon.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just imagining Sam just munching down on PB&Js and just playing on an like he's basically living every 6-year-old's dream.
He's like a teenager. I mean, that's like basically what he was doing when I'd visit him on house arrest. Like he was literally just constantly playing. Like sometimes when I'd be talking to him, he'd just turn around and start playing League of Legends. And I'm like,
I'm fucking kidding me?
I'm right here, Sam.
Oh,
that's like the exact story of when he was in the meetings at maybe Jane Street or whatever.
He did do that apparently.
Jesus Christ.
In another life, he could have been a great person to be on Love on the Spectrum.
I know.
He could have been such a great,
it's a missed
sweet
opportunity.
Do you know if he's getting any kind of romantic fan mail? Like, you know how they would, like Charlie Manson would.
Not that he's told me, and not that I've heard from any of the inmates.
Oh, bummer.
I bet
I'm surprised. I feel like some girls should.
There's some
find
SBF girlies out there.
There's
I know. Where are the SBF girlies at?
The Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston Marathon bombers, had like
Charles Manson got married to like.
Sure.
I wonder if it's like, do women just like the violent criminals?
Ooh,
maybe that's what it is.
He's too dorky.
Because maybe they're into the whole like, he's a protector.
Yeah.
And Sam is not a protector.
With Sam, they could at least get some investment advice.
That's
true. Not what they want. They want excitement, danger.
Yeah, but
making a little bit of cash on the side.
They want a guy who's going to carve a swastika into his forehead.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Women do want that.
That's what
every woman wants.
They want an unpredictable guy who is going to put out some bad music and maybe carve a swastika.
That's kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
He is unpredictable.
Yeah.
He's predictably unpredictable. Kind of like me. Where you're always going to get something stupid coming out of my dipshit mouth.
Good to publicly compare yourself to Sam Bankman-Fried.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, so how are you talking to him? Is it just phone calls through?
Yeah, how does this work?
Oh, I haven't had any phone calls with him. I mean, I'm not going to talk about any of the content of our conversations, but
is it email? Email.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But
what's his email address? Or I mean, is it like at MDC Brooklyn? Like, what's the tag?
It's through it's like through a different app.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
asking
I told Sam I'm not
generally.
gonna
How
talk
does one communicate with someone in prison?
So
'Cause I don't know.
generally, one communicates with someone. They have to like add you to their email list. So I had to like accept or deny. Not that I did either. I'm not going to talk about our emails.
Sure.
But so it's like a different app. Like it's a different website that's just to contact
Prison
inmates,
mail.
I guess. Yeah.
P-mail. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if he wants to call you, you just get like that
I think
automated
he has to
thing.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're receiving a call from inmate number
Mm-hmm.
Sam Bankman at MDC Brooklyn, and then you accept, and then you.
That
It's
wasn't too
Sam.
Yeah, it's Sam.
That
It's
wasn't
me.
too bad an impression.
Yeah, all we need now is a really dry mouth.
And
Poor guy.
well, I think you can really only accomplish that from your 30th peanut butter and jelly sandwich. of the
Yeah.
day.
Oh, geez.
That's how he gets that voice. Yeah.
I wonder if he well, I guess you can't smoke in prison anymore, but at that point I
He
would just
doesn't
say,
smoke.
fuck it. I'm going to try to die from cigarettes. I would just smoke.
Well, you got to wait till your sentencing comes down first.
Yeah, true.
Sam like doesn't do recreational drugs. I mean, he does take Adderall and MSAM for depression, but I remember I tried to get him to take ecstasy once, and he.
You tried to.
What the fuck? How did you skip
Yeah.
that part, Tiffany? You tried to fucking get
We do-
Sam to take ecstasy? Where?
At his
when?
parents'
How?
house?
At his parents' house. I didn't
what?
actually have it on me. Listen, government. I didn't actually have ecstasy on
Oh,
me.
They
don't
don't care.
care.
We talk about.
Government. Okay. Yeah, I didn't actually have ecstasy on me. No, we were just, well, it was sort of an emotional conversation because Sam just, he's told me that he doesn't really feel the emotion happiness. Like he's never felt happiness and he doesn't know what it
What?
feels like.
So you
Yeah.
were
This is
like,
the
I know
problem.
just the thing.
We've let psychotic nerds run everything. I'm not joking. We are at the whim of just wounded men who have never felt happiness, and now we are paying for it.
That's true.
And we've told them that they are the greatest and geniuses, and they are our saviors, and that was the closest they've ever come to happiness. And now
all they needed to do was carve a
Yeah.
swastika into their foreheads,
Truly.
and then women will be all over them.
Really?
But instead
God.
they commit.
Okay, so he's
Oh my
told you
God.
that he is not.
he was telling me he doesn't feel happiness. I don't mean to make fun of him for that because I feel like I
No,
felt quite,
that's
I felt
very
quite
tragic.
sad for that.
Yeah.
And he does struggle with like depression and stuff like that. But yeah, he said he'd never felt the emotion and happiness before. So I was like, maybe if you want to try ecstasy, you could feel happiness. But he was like, no. I was like, maybe we could try ecstasy. And then he was like, I don't think I should do anything illegal right now.
Man.
So
Oh,
he
yeah,
turned me down
yeah.
because he
Oh,
said it's
that's where he draws the line.
I know. I did try though. I thought that would have been a funny experience.
That would have been incredible.
It would
Can
have
you
been amazing.
imagine the shit that would come out of his mouth when he's on fucking Molly?
Oh God,
Oh, I would have loved to have taken Molly with
that
Sam.
would have been one
Oh.
hell of a headline. I took Molly with SBF.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
Then his
Oh my
parents
God.
really wouldn't like you.
Oh yeah, they already hate me.
Yeah.
How
Sad.
did you get to go to the White House Christmas party? a
Oh,
couple
that
years
was
ago?
that all happened before I even got in contact with Sam. It was just when I started covering Celsius, and I didn't even have that big of a following or anything. But I just got a random email that said invite to the White House Christmas party. I was like, this is a fucking scam.
That was
This is a
Biden. He
fucking
typed it in
scam.
wrong. He's a bit.
Where the fuck
He's
is
been-
our invite?
He's a bit out to lunch.
I know. No, so like I
Tiffany,
opened that.
I want you to come. I'm having a lunch.
I want you to come. I'm having lunch.
Wait, it was a lunch?
No,
Oh.
it was a Christmas party.
Yeah, okay.
But it was some guy claiming that he wanted to bring me to the White House Christmas party, and I was like, this is a scam. So I responded, this is a scam. This feels like a ploy to kidnap me. If this is not a scam or a ploy to kidnap me, send me a photo immediately of you taking a selfie with your government ID, holding up 3 fingers. I made him send me a
Wow.
whole list of things. Like I was like, send me a picture of the last Christmas party, send me a picture of X, Y, and Z. Like shit. Send me an email from your .gov email address. Did all those things in a snap. So I was like, oh, this is legit. So it was some presidential Secret Service officer member.
What?
Was he
Worker?
hitting on you or something?
I think that was his intent, but I
Ben,
straightforwardly
you're
said,
an
hey.
adult. I think you know.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
I think that was his intent.
Right.
But I told him up front, I was like, hey, no funny business.
Yeah.
I'm seeing someone. I wasn't even seeing someone. I just wanted to protect myself.
Sure.
But I was like, I have a boyfriend. And so if you want anything romantic, bring someone else. But if you're okay with me just coming and eating the free food and drinking the free alcohol, I
Yeah.
will come. And he said, yes, that's fine. So
Wow.
How was the food?
it was excellent.
Really?
Really?
A lot of yeah, I feel like there was like lamb and like crab legs. And I mean, it was just like a fucking buffet. So it's as good as like a fucking casino buffet. To me, that's excellent.
Did you get screened like multiple times?
Oh, yeah. They had to background check me.
Uh-huh.
I have a clean record. And what else they have to do? Yeah, there was a lot of security getting in. But I think they had to do a pretty intense background check on me.
Would you feel confident that you could have smuggled something into the White House?
I probably could have.
You could have gotten ecstasy into the White House?
Probably could have smuggled it. I totally.
I'm thinking like weapons.
I know. I think I made when they found like white substance at the White House. I was like, I'm so sorry for that.
No, what's that?
I did tweet about that. I was like, sorry, that was me.
Oh, okay.
Could it have been you?
It could have. It probably could have been.
Joe Biden was telling you he's never felt happiness, and you were like, look.
Joe, listen.
We could do something about this.
Did you meet Joe Biden at that party?
I did. So we have that picture together.
Yeah. Did he really smell your hair?
No, he didn't smell my hair, sadly. I'm too old.
Oh,
but
God.
No. But no, I mean, everyone who gets invited to the White House Christmas party apparently gets to take a picture with Biden. So it wasn't he came up to me and was like, I must speak to you.
I must speak to you.
Yeah.
How did he look and seem? Did it feel like you were like, oh, this is a senile old man?
Oh, yeah. He looked waxy. He looked wet for some reason. I'm like, why are you moist right now?
Yeah.
It looked like he had been covered like glazed, like a glazed donut.
I bet he was just hot.
I did give him ecstasy.
It's like, I'm peeking right now.
I'm peeking right now.
His jaws, Was he?
Tiffany, I'm peeking. I'm finally feeling happiness.
Did he? I wonder if it was like his makeup melting off.
That's what it felt like. It seemed like sweaty makeup job, but he looked like a little glazed donut. It was disgusting.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well,
can you imagine? Yeah.
Not great.
And he just said that the secret to his happy marriage with Joe Biden is having sex.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, good sex.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't want to know that.
I don't believe him.
Yeah, I don't believe him.
I think good sex would maybe kill that man. But,
I think so too.
Yeah.
How are the bathrooms? And I know people are probably going to be like, Ben's always bringing up toilets. And here goes another.
Do you have a fixation?
No, I don't.
He does.
I don't have a
He
fixation.
totally does.
But how
he really
were the
wants
bathrooms?
to know how the bathrooms are. I swear to God, this is the first time I've ever asked this. How are the bathrooms?
How were the bathrooms?
Yeah. They were nice. I
Yeah,
mean, they were
okay.
nice. They had all the napkins said like President of the United States. So I definitely pocketed some napkins.
Sure.
Of course. So yeah, otherwise, I don't know, like marble. I mean, the place, it's kind of old.
They could use a remodel.
It could use a remodel. We could redo the White House. Just knock it down, do it over again.
Were you able to explore other parts of the White House at all?
Yeah, I got to go in all the rooms that were open. The presidential Secret Service guy showed me around.
Oh wow!
And he didn't creep on me, so that was nice. He was respectful.
Interesting.
Great.
Yeah.
I just I'm fascinated by things like national security, especially at the White House while the president's there. It's like, man, if somebody wanted to, they could.
I feel like
so many things.
I know.
If
I mean, I
someone
did
was
have to go through like a
inspired-
metal detector and stuff like that, but it's not like they like patted me down or like.
Yeah, you could have a plastic knife.
Yeah, am I gonna get in trouble for saying? I don't know. No, that's fine. That's normal.
No, it's assumed that you get patted down and all that stuff and wanted.
They didn't do anything.
And there's
too
probably
intense.
stuff that's scanning your body that you don't even know about. Mm-hmm. That's like doing a heat thing or whatever.
Maybe that's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true.
See. I mean, they gotta keep. It's the most important person in the world.
That's true. That's true.
Dang. I wonder what else we.
I feel like that's.
Yeah.
I feel like we got most of it.
Yeah. Do you feel like we left anything out? Is there anything from this whole debacle?
Yeah, because
ordeal?
as we almost left out the fact that you almost did Molly with Sam Bankman-Fried. So please let us know.
I guess I
wanted to.
I wanted to commend you for it reminds me of us a little bit in that we've kind of had a non-traditional
wow, I love when
trajectory.
I love when someone compliments someone and they go, you know, it reminds me of.
I want to give you this compliment.
But you're in the
remind me of
same. You're in the same kind of wheelhouse world where you didn't intend to set out to do this, and now look at you, and you've just like, well, now I'm going on this path in this direction, and look where it's taken you.
Yeah, it's been wild.
Yeah.
I mean, and I feel like I've risked my life a few times meeting up with these gang members and whatnot. But
Did you have anyone with you when you were doing that?
No.
For sure.
I was
All
a little
right.
nervous.
Yeah, that's cool.
I started it off. We started off doing like a video chat, and because I was like, this guy looks fucking scary, and he has face tattoos and whatever, and it just kept going in and out of service. And I was in New York, and I was like, okay, listen, just you can come over, and we'll see what happens. risking my life for the interview. But I felt so bad when he came over. He was like, I was nervous that you wanted to do it online and not in person because of my face tattoos, and I thought you were judging me. And I was like, no, it wasn't the face tattoos.
He seems incredibly sweet.
Yeah,
he was really
does.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And a
maybe
good sense of humor.
less the face tattoos and maybe the violent crime.
Maybe it was the violent crime.
Yeah.
It was probably the violent crime. Yeah.
But
Was it murder? I think you mentioned.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it.
Oh, yeah,
I don't
okay.
know, but I know he had gun charges. So.
Yeah. Yeah, who doesn't?
Gang member. Who doesn't?
Yeah. Me, I got I lost count of how many guns I got, how many gun charges are pending. And
the gun charges just keep piling up.
yeah, they just keep
Always.
piling up. Well, I just love them so much. You know?
We all do.
Yeah. Oh, man. I can't wait to go home and shoot one right into the floor.
Wait to go shoot one.
Yeah. Well, my downstairs neighbor just moved out, so she's not gonna be home. She won't be bothered by me shooting my gun. Because usually when she's home and I shoot my gun into the floor, she gets really pissed. Anyway. Huh.
Well, Tiffany, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah,
while you're
plug.
here?
Plug away.
Yeah, I guess I'm on YouTube at Tiffany Fong. I'm on Twitter at Tiffany Fong with 1_. I guess if you just look up Tiffany Fong on YouTube, Instagram,
Google.
whatever. Yeah, Google. Yeah.
YouTube, Twitch,
Oh, Twitch.
whatever.
You do Twitch?
I don't even really know how to Twitch. I don't game or anything. I've just been going on and like responding to people's questions, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I like it.
Find her.
Find me. Find me.
Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks
this
for
has been
having me.
Great.
And gang,
you.
we'll see you in the bonus, benandemilshow.com. We're going to be talking about Biden having sex and all sorts of fun stuff. I don't even remember because I don't have my laptop open, but
Well,
it'll be fun.
It's going to be great.
It'll be good. Okay. Bye.
Bye.